Wrestling Extra.
A abrupt emergency, We Are Wrestling.
You only have so many spots on your roster. You can't have everybody.
They're going all in for these documentaries.
I want to be champion. I want to be the one to carry that flag.
You're a wrestler here? You're a wrestler?
It sucks seeing the real part of wrestling sometimes.
You're watching We Are Wrestling Extra.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie here, live on a Tuesday because it is Survivor Series week, which means we are going to be giving our predictions on the flagship show, the We Are Wrestling podcast, which is live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I thought I would hop on here and talk about some of the additional news. Since I didn't do a live watch along over the weekend for AEW Full Gear 2025, I figured let's give you guys my review on here and, of course, talk about the Continental Classic and some wrestling news, even though it has been a little bit of a dry week. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already and you're listening to this episode, wherever you get your podcast, please give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download this extra and give us a follow. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac, you're already over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers. We recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real. And we got lots of you guys here in the live chat on a Tuesday. Got to give you guys all shout outs here. We got Destry. We got Cinnabon. What is going on? We got We Are Wrestling member in the live chat, Bradley. What's up, Donnie? What is going on, Bradley? Clock strikes 12. Oh, yeah, that's right. And we have a very busy week here on the We Are Wrestling channel. It's Thanksgiving. And we're thankful for all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs who make this possible. And we have a whole week worth of content. And man, tomorrow we got our Survivor Series predictions, which we will be crowning a brand new We Are Wrestling champion between myself and the two Dans. We already know who's going to win the prediction. It's going to be the best one. Then on Thursday, there's going to be no uploads because we want you guys to spend your Thanksgiving with your families like we're going to do. Friday, we have our House of Glory vlog because during big event New York weekend, which, man, thank you guys for making that vlog very successful. As of right now, we're at about 1,000 views on that vlog. I also went to a wrestling show after big event, which was House of Glory, my first time going to one of those shows. That vlog will be up this Friday. And then, of course, Saturday morning, we're going to get you the SmackDown reactions. And then after that, Saturday night, Survivor Series, which let me tell you guys, the best one living room is going to be jam-packed. And it's going to be a must-watch live watch-along. So if you guys want to see us watching Survivor Series, talk wrestling, all the good stuff, hope to see you guys there. But here we are with a new We Are Wrestling Extra. And with this, I do want to talk about the script we have here with like some of the news and the Continental Classic, my review for AEW Full Gear. But I also want to spend some time answering questions from you guys. Anything you want me to talk about wrestling related, feel free to spam in the live chat, because I do want to make these extras more of a regular thing moving forward on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. And even with the pod, we can really use this extra as more of a interaction and just talk about what we love, and that is professional wrestling. which, oh man, we got ourselves a great lineup for this week's Extra. And honestly, I want to start off with AEW Full Gear, which unfortunately I was not able to do a live watch along for. I actually took that Saturday off from anything wrestling related because of all the traveling I've been doing with Big Event New York, with House of Glory, just so much wrestling, Rhode Island Comic-Con. There's been a lot of traveling I've been doing in the month of November, and I wanted to celebrate my birthday a couple weeks later with the buddies on Saturday, which is why we didn't have a Full Gear watch along. Danny would have been on here, but unfortunately, he had things going on as well. It was his daughter's 13th birthday, so sometimes, priorities do come first. But man, look at the crowd. Look at that view for AEW Full Gear. Almost sold out. And that's one thing I will say AEW has going for them is these pay-per-views. And it's like Tony Khan, I feel like, really just doesn't give a crap about his weekly television shows. Doesn't care about Dynamite. Doesn't care about Collision. But he cares about his pay-per-views because I feel like we get the most storytelling during these pay-per-views. And if they could just do that on the weekly shows, it would be so much more easier to watch. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I have not been watching AEW consistently every week. Which the past Dynamite last week, myself and Dan the Man went there. That vlog will be up next Friday on the channel. But man, look at that. We got Rage here going solo. Fuck, man. Haha. What's up, Maniacs? What is going on, Rage? You already know, man. The grind is real. And a lot of this is AEW's talk. So, of course, Dan. He can't talk about AEW. But Danny Huckins, he could have, but honestly, I just didn't want to be on here with him for 3 hours rambling, because I just want to go through this review, talk about the stuff, and then talk to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs, of course, because I know Saturday there's going to be a lot of people, so now is the time. I see you doing some studio rearranging. Oh my goodness, dude. Yes, I am. Trying to make more room while I have, the time. So, right now, I got these 3 shelves underneath here open. I took my AEW figures off of them, which is actually in that tote right behind me, because I'm trying to, rearrange things, because obviously, with December and January, I really love to get my room tour videos out. So, I'm trying to do something before the big the renovation here in the studios, and show some love to Ben, guys, in the live chat. But let's get into the AEW Full Gear review, because I actually have finally had the time to watch it over. And man, AEW, they just don't miss when it comes to these pay-per-views. They really don't miss. And if they could just do what they're doing on the pay-per-views on the weekly shows, I feel like AEW could right now be better than the WWE, but that is just not the case. So here we go. And look at that. Starting off, we have our Tailgate Brawl, another money match, bunch of different tag teams going at it. And of course, the Bang Bang Gang won the match with Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn winning this match here. And then let's move on to the next match here on the card, a part of the Brawl, which I believe the Brawl happens on TNT or TBS. Honestly, I skipped the Brawl because I really just didn't care for it. But I did see the highlights on this one. We had Boom Doom versus Roppongi Vice, part of Don Callis family. And, yep, Big Boom and QT won. And the highlight that everybody's talking about in the match is this right here with Big Justice giving a diamond cutter to Trent. Tired of him pushing him around, taking his lunch money, which that was the thing that everybody was talking about. Honestly, I really don't care for the whole Costco guys, the whole Big Boom thing. Don't really care for it, but I will say I will not be surprised if when Big Justice does become an 18-year-old kid, he decides to pursue professional wrestling. Because you can just tell he is having fun. And we look at that. We got another We Are Wrestling fan in here. We got Wavy Burrow Fro 84. Nice jersey. Had to rep the jersey, man. Rams are number 1 right now. Had to do it. But there they are, the Costco boys, the Boom Doom, whatever they want to be called these days, won their match. Then moving on, we did have a quick squash tag team match, Hook and Eddie Kingston versus the Workhorsemen. And of course, Hook and Eddie Kingston won that one. And we're going to talk about what Hook did later on in the show. Let's just say things are going to start getting interesting finally when it comes to Hook. But then we did get ourselves our last tailgate match that got into the pay-per-view, which is something that they did, I believe, at the last pay-per-view, which was Wrestle Dream. They kind of had like the final minutes of the tailgate or whatever the pre-show match was, and it went on to the pay-per-view. So we did have for the CMLL Trio Championships, looked like Takeshita, some mask guy that I can't pronounce his name, and Okada versus Mystico and 2 other luchadors. And Okada didn't even show up during the pre-show part of the match. He actually pulled up in his limo, his sports car, in his wrestling gear, and then he comes out full pyros, all the good stuff when the pay-per-view goes on the air. If he hits a gym. Yeah, man, some of those AEW guys, they really do have to hit the gym. I do agree. But here it is. One of my favorite things about this feud when it comes to the Don Callis family, I love the teasing that they're doing here with Takeshita and Okada, with the guy moving out of the way, hitting him with the clothesline, Okada smiling, because there's a lot of tension there. There's a lot of jealousy going on within the Don Callis family, because both Takeshita and Okada want to be Don Callis' number 1. Which, due to the lack of communication, it led to the CMLL guys, Mystico and the 2 other luchadors, winning and retaining their trio championships. And honestly, the highlight is Takeshita and Okada here. And I really cannot wait until we get that face turn with Takeshita. It's only a matter of time. I think Don Callis family has been one of the few highlights in AEW, if you ask me. Because there's just so much storytelling going on, and Don Callis just does a good job at making the guys that are in his group matter. And that's something that I feel like is missing in professional wrestling today, all over the place. I think TNA could use more managers. WWE could use more managers than Paul Heyman. And I think AEW could definitely use more managers than Don Callis. I think it's really a missing art in the sport. But I do love the tease here, what they're doing with Okada and Takeshita. And I do feel like the Continental Classic, that's going to be where things are going to start to hit the fan when it comes to this rivalry. Then we get into our first official match here on the pay-per-view itself, Pac versus Darby Allin. And I got to say, at first I questioned Pac and this new look that he had going on for him, because he did cut the hair. Now he's wearing long trunks, because he's usually wore tights throughout his career. And honestly, I'm digging the new look for Pac. I like that he's actually using his muscles and not doing a little bit less high flying. He's actually working as a legitimate old school heel, which I like a lot. And Darby Allin took some crazy spots during this match, because he still did have some of the fire on him from what happened in the Blood and Guts match a few weeks ago. Pac's killing it. Most compelling guy in AEW right now, to be honest. I really like what they've done with Pac. And honestly, with Jon Moxley tapping out twice to Kyle O'Reilly, I could see Pac actually ended up taking over the Death Riders, which I think would be a nice little direction for him. Maybe give him a TNT title run. But man, there he is, cheating. Had to hit Darby Allin to get the win. 1, 2, 3, Pac wins. Moving on, we did get this all-star tag match here, and the winning team would get to pick the stipulation going into this tag team tournament. And of course, Timeless Tony Storm and Mina ended up winning, which I will say, I like that AEW is showcasing these women, and they're actually using them and putting them in tag team matches. I really hope that the momentum does continue, because I do feel like the more these titles are around, I feel like they're just going to get lost in the shuffle yet again, which I don't like. I want there to be women tag team championships. I want there to be women mid-card titles and world titles, because I do feel like the women deserve to have the same titles as the men. They deserve the same opportunities, because I think a lot of the times when you give these women wrestlers, whether it's WWE, TNA, or especially AEW, because these women killed it inside the Blood and Guts match, I firmly believe that if you give them the opportunity, sometimes they are going to hit it out of the ballpark better than the men. And that's why, like, I'm rooting for the WWE Women Tag titles to succeed. I'm rooting for the AEW Women Tag titles to succeed. Is it going to? Probably not. But I do like the direction that they're going in. They could have just rushed it, had some tournament matches, but I like that they're actually dragging this on, building these tag teams. That's how you should be doing it. What is going on, Josh Toy Show? Hope you're having yourself a good day. I know I am, reviewing some AEW Full Gear. And I really do like the pairing here with Mina and Toni Storm, because it actually makes sense. Mina and Toni have had a relationship. Anna Jay and Ty Mello have had a relationship. Megan Baines and Marina, they put them together because Penelope Ford, she's injured. But Penelope and Megan, they have built that relationship. Harley and Willow Nightingale, another team, they have built that relationship. So I really hope that they continue to put more stock into their tag titles, because they have done a good job with the women's world title and the TBS champ. Say what you want about Mercedes, but at least she's defending the title and having consistent matches, defending the belt, unlike those other props that she's carrying around. Let's move on to our next match here on the card for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Bro Dito versus FTR. And honestly, not surprised by this, with FTR winning back their tag team championships, because I do think long term, Adam Copeland and Christian are probably going to get the tag belts when they come back after being written off not that long ago. And I will say, Bro Dito, they did a good job building this random tag team up. And I think they did their job for the time being, because I think if FTR won the championships around All In, I just think that it wouldn't have made sense for Adam Copeland and Christian to just right away go for the titles. Because obviously at All Out, you wanted FTR versus Adam Copeland and Christian. But now that they beat them, that's going to give us a reason why they're going to go after the titles. But honestly, I'm liking heel FTR. I like Stokely with them. And hopefully, like, they could bring some more excitement, some more legitimacy back to the tag division that they are rebuilding. But let's move on now to our random Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal match to determine the new AEW National Wrestling Championship, which I know there's some people who don't like this title because of the whole NWA thing. But honestly, I like it, but I just don't like that AEW has all these championships, just like WWE, because you only have a certain amount of TV time. But I did hear, like, the plans for this national title. They want to defend it all over the world. They want to have it not just on AEW programming, on Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, CMLL, and they want to actually treat it like the NWA does with their championships, having it defended across the world. So I do like that, and I hope, like, it actually comes to fruition and they do keep that. Sometimes they say things, they go with it for a couple months, and then they forget all about what this championship represents, what it means. But we had lots of different competitors in here, which, yes, I do like the new belt as well, Bradley. I do like the design a lot on the championship. It is very similar to the NWA national title, which is why I think a lot of NWA people are petty about it. But I do like this for AEW because they do focus on the pro wrestling side of things. Wouldn't make sense if WWE had it. But we did get a little stare down with Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia. They need to have just a regular pay-per-view match at this point because the storyline's there. They are just pretty much teasing us with it at this point. But there's Roderick Strong giving a backbreaker to Ricochet. And there's Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight going at it. And Ricochet becomes the first ever AEW National Champion. which honestly, I'm excited to see what Ricochet will do, but I was kind of hoping that these guys were going to win the trio championships. I thought that was the direction that they were going in, but now it kind of makes sense, like, why they're not having them go after it with Samoa Joe being champ, which we will get into not in just a moment. But now let's get into one of my favorite matches of the night. It's Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly in a no-holds-barred match. And let me just say, I love what they've done with Kyle O'Reilly ever since this Blood and Guts match. I have been very behind what they're doing here with him, having him tap out Jon Moxley not once, but 2 times. And this was just a brutal match. And I think that Jon Moxley always does a good job at putting over new people. But at the same time, still being dominant to where when he puts somebody over, it actually means something. And I really hope, like, now that Kyle O'Reilly had this moment, tap Jon Moxley out again, we really put a rocket ship on this guy, because he reminds me of a Ken Shamrock. And Ken Shamrock is one of my favorite Attitude Era wrestlers during the late 90s, early 2000s. So with Kyle O'Reilly, like, I really want to see, like, what they could do with him, because I think given the right push, and especially now tapping out Jon Moxley and really going into that mixed martial arts background that he has, you can make a champion out of him. And I wouldn't mind seeing that. And then this is honestly the most excited I've been about Kyle O'Reilly since Red Dragon and Undisputed Era. But then, of course, after the match, Jon Moxley attacked him. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen with him and the Death Riders, because he did tap out twice, and it seems like other members in the group are stepping up. Tyrus in the live chat, sadly, it took Adam Cole's injury to put Kyle O'Reilly on that spot. Even in his NXT days, Kyle was always overshadowed. I agree with that. And if you go back into time, I think it was AEW Double or Nothing a few years ago, Kyle O'Reilly had a singles match against Orange Cassidy and got a big win, but then he did deal with a really, really bad injury, and it felt like during that time they were going to do something with him as a singles competitor. But then with the injury, like, he had to take time off, and I believe now he is also dealing with an injury, but I don't think it's severe. He just won't be able to do the Continental Classic. But man, Kyle O'Reilly, I really hope that they continue to pick up this momentum, because he is somebody that the past couple weeks I have definitely been interested in. Let's move on now to our next brutal match here. Lots of blood on the show for the AEW TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher defending the title against Mark Briscoe in a brutal match. We had the ladders, we had the barbed wire boards. Oh man, we even had the forks in this match. And I was a big fan of this, even the thumbtacks in the mouth. And I really thought that Kyle O'Reilly was actually going to win this. And they surprised me with Mark Briscoe winning the championship. And honestly, I can't be mad at it. AEW has done such a great job at building Mark Briscoe up. I love that he's regularly on TV every week. The fans are invested in him because of his story with how close he is to his brother and how much his family means to him. I love how organically Mark Briscoe has gotten over with the crowd. And every time he's wrestling somebody, whether it's MJF or Kyle Fletcher or just anybody in general, you are generally invested in him and you want him to win, because he's the guy that does the right thing. And that's exactly how a babyface should be. And it's hard for me to get behind a babyface, because I think a lot of the times we forget what it means to be a babyface. But honestly, the championship looks great on Mark Briscoe. And I think that it's going to be an unpredictable title run, because you could have any other heel take the belt off of him. And I am curious to see who it's going to be. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Pac is the one to take the belt off of him, because Pac has never won the TNT title. But let's move on to our trios match. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander, part of the Don Callis family, versus Jurassic Express and Kenny Omega. And this is also another good storyline. Anything with the Don Callis family, I'm invested in. I don't know why people hate the Don Callis family. It's such good storytelling. There's so much different dynamics going on within the family. And that's what I like about it. And these guys are regularly on TV. People want to complain about Josh Alexander when he first joined AEW, but how can you complain about him when he's working with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and even Jurassic Express, one of the day one AEW tag teams? I really did enjoy this. Kenny Omega, Josh Alexander, just the storytelling. Anytime you have anybody from the Elite, whether it's Hangman Adam Page, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, there's always such good storytelling involved. And pretty much the whole story has been built around the Young Bucks being broke. Don Callis trying to do whatever he can to have the Young Bucks join the family, knowing that it's going to hurt Kenny Omega, who the Young Bucks are best friends with. And at the end of the day, Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks won, but the Young Bucks made the right choice. They dropped the money and they went and they hugged Kenny Omega. What a happy ending. Hopefully we get being the Elite consistently now, because honestly, I think this is long overdue for the Young Bucks to be baby faces. They had a great heel run. And honestly, I can't wait to see where this goes now that we have Kenny Omega aligned with the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. Maybe we could do a big, well, we just had Blood and Guts, but we could have one of their big matches. They could do, what the hell is that? Damn, it's on the tip of my tongue. It was one of the first Stadium Stampede. They could do a Stadium Stampede match. Have 5 members of the Don Callis family go against those 5, which I think would make good storytelling. I do like this a lot with Kenny and the Young Bucks being back together. And then up next, we had the match that I can't believe I was wrong about my prediction. Chris Statlander defending her AEW Women's World Championship against 14 belts Monet. Rage Circus's girl right here, Mercedes, just getting title after title after title after title after title. And in this match, this was another fantastic match. Anytime you put Mercedes and Chris Statlander in a match, you are going to have magic right there. Chris Statlander, somebody who I have been such a big fan of, followed her career going all the way back to Limitless Wrestling, Blitzkrieg Pro, before she did sign with AEW. So I got to see her work in the indies, and I knew she was always special. So to get her in there with Mercedes, who right now is the #1 Pro Wrestling Illustrated female wrestler of 2025, they definitely put on a great match. You can say what you want about Mercedes. Am I a fan of all the championships? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, she's right now one of the best in the world at what she does in that ring. And I could argue with anybody about that. But overall, I was very surprised by this with Chris Statlander retaining her championship. And I do have a couple things I do want to say here about this. And I even thought this before the match. AEW really put themselves in a lose-lose situation here with Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné. Is this a pay-per-view worthy match? 1000%. Both women are fantastic, some of the best in the entire world. But this is a lose-lose situation because you have Mercedes, you want to make her feel special with all these championships. Ultimo Moné, that's what she's going by these days. She's holding the TBS title, the Ring of Honor TV title, all these international independent wrestling titles. But the one title she continues to lose is the AEW Women's World title. She lost it all into Timeless Toni Storm, and now she lost to Chris Statlander. And it's like, what's the point in her holding all these championships? What's the point in her holding these titles when she can't even beat the world champion? This is great for Chris Statlander. This put Chris Statlander over. And then if you had Mercedes beat Chris Statlander, then it's like you kind of lost. Chris Statlander loses credibility as champion. Kind of like what happened with Red Velvet with that Ring of Honor television championship. She kind of lost that relevancy because Mercedes, let's be real, she made her look like a rookie in that ring. But honestly, I am happy with this decision. But now that Mercedes lost, I kind of want to see her start losing more because I want it to bother her that she can't win that women's world championship. Have her lose everything. Give us that long-term storytelling with her. And then you could build it all the way up until AEW All In next year. And then she finally wins the world championship. And it matters. But have her lose all 14 of these championships, slowly but surely. Have her lose and then work her way back up. That's how you can get fans back invested in the CEO. But I'm happy with Chris Statlander being champion, and this definitely tells me that Tony Khan does see lots of value in her, and to me, that's a W. Let's move on now to our main event match, Samoa Joe versus Hangman Adam Page inside the steel cage. What a brutal match. I've been invested in the Samoa Joe Hangman feud. At first, I thought that this was just like a filler feud to kind of build some time so that we do get MJF eventually taking the championship from Hangman. But I guess according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the plan for Samoa Joe to win the championship has been for a while now. And I'm actually surprised they did this. And I can't believe how brutal this match was. Hangman looked great. Samoa Joe, at the age of 46, man, still putting on some of the best matches of his career. Ooh, we got a question here in the live chat. Nate Daniel, hi Donnie, do you think Adam Copeland and Christian beat FTR? Not the first time, but the second time, yes. Because I do think they are going to have to build the storyline up a little bit. But man, look at that. We also did have Hook turn heel and officially join the Ops to help Samoa Joe win the AEW World Championship. And a lot of people are actually upset about this, saying, oh, Hangman Adam Page is a transitional champion, which I think is a load of shit, if you ask me, because Hangman held the championship for over 100 days. And honestly, losing to somebody like Samoa Joe, I feel like you shouldn't lose credit there, especially when you have the Ops helping them. And there's Samoa Joe all bloodied up, new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, making him a 2-time champ. And honestly, I'm really happy with this booking decision because it was unpredictable. I really thought Hangman was going to win this, and we were going to get the MJF program going into AEW World's End, and I thought MJF would be the guy to take the title off of Hangman, but I guess that's not the case. And it makes things even more unpredictable here. And I am excited to see what's going to happen now with Eddie Kingston and Hook, because they have been teaming up together, and with Hook joining the Ops, what's going to happen with Kenny? Is Eddie Kingston going to join? We're going to have to wait and see. But the big thing that happened that night, and I'm upset I didn't get you guys a reaction because I did see it on social media, and my buddies were spoiling the show Saturday. Swerve Strickland came back and actually aligned himself with Hangman Adam Page. And honestly, I'm excited about this here because one of the best storylines, probably the best storyline AEW has right now going for them, is Swerve and Hangman. And it does make things very interesting because Samoa Joe did lose his championship to Swerve. So maybe that's the plan. Swerve gets his title back. Maybe we run it back. Hangman, Swerve. MJF takes the belt off of Swerve. There's so much unpredictability now when it comes to that AEW World Championship. And the unfortunate thing is, we're really not going to do anything about this. I can already tell you guys that. AEW Dynamite, they're just going to do their money matches and more matches. And I really hope that's not the case, but I say this all the time after an AEW pay-per-view, and it's so sad that, like, they don't do anything. Like, we get all of our great matches, great storytelling. Everything is so perfect with an AEW pay-per-view. But then when we go to the show, they don't really do much. And it's so annoying as an AEW fan. But there it is. We got the new look of the Ops, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, Shibata, and now Hook, which honestly, I am so happy that Hook is a part of the Ops now because I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Hook as a babyface, and this finally gives him something to do. And I'm noticing all the little guys are turning heel. Daniel Garcia went from doing his little dance to joining the Death Riders. Wheeler Yuta, a long time ago, turned heel, and he joined and helped Jon Moxley defeat Bryan Danielson. Now, like, we're getting this with Hook. So who's the next little guy that's going to turn heel? Let us know in the comment section below or in the live chat. But, man, we have 18 total people here on a Tuesday. We appreciate all of you guys. And look at that. We got a new We Are Wrestling Maniac here in the live chat. BJ Dixon, first-time viewer. What's up, guys? What's going on, BJ? Welcome to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. Tomorrow, we are going to be doing Survivor Series predictions, so I do hope to see you here. And I do appreciate you coming in and checking out this live We Are Wrestling Extra. And that's the thing, like, I always want to let first-time viewers know, first-time listeners, that we love this wrestling community. You don't need to send in super chats. We do appreciate it because super chats do always go back into the channel, but we like to interact with you guys. We want to build this strong community, and there's really no paywall behind the content that we're giving you guys. Super chats, we always do appreciate. Memberships, we always do appreciate, but we really do also appreciate the people that tune in and watch the videos, because at the end of the day, you guys watching the videos, you guys subscribing does help because we get ads in our videos, and then Google gives us a little bit and we put it right back into the content. But we got a huge AEW fan right here. I'm a huge AEW fan as well. Like, there's things I love, but there's things I hate. And man, let me tell you, it's hard doing a extra by myself. So I'm going to take a sip of a little bit of the Sprite. Wow, that was needed. That was well needed after all that talking. My Seahawks play your Rams next month. Well, I do feel bad for the Seahawks because the Rams are number one thanks to the Cowboys. Never thought I'd say thank you to the Cowboys. Fly away, Eagles. Fly away. At least you don't have to put tape over your mouth Saturday. Hey, I do not have to put tape over my mouth Saturday. Honestly, probably one of the worst stipulation things. Like, come on now. I'm the host with the most. I'm Mr. We Are Wrestling. Like, you guys, of course, want to hear what I'm going to say. You want to see, like, me get pissed off, me be happy. So, like, yeah, honestly, I'm kind of glad I don't have to do the duct tape. But we will have a new stipulation pretty soon. We'll probably announce it at Survivor Series because we do got to get back on track because some of these stipulations have been kind of weak. So if you guys have any ideas, feel free to drop them. I'm a huge Samoa Joe fan. I'm staying optimistic about this title because may be his last one. And I've always been such a huge Samoa Joe fan, BJ. Going all the way back to TNA, I always switched between him and AJ Styles. They both were my guys, and I just could never pick one or the other. So honestly, like Samoa Joe, I'm happy with this because one thing Samoa Joe did do in his first title run was storytelling, something that AEW is lacking. Hangman's always been the best at chasing the championship, being the underdog, and I do think that his run was very good for the time being. And a lot of people are like, oh, he got buried, this and that. And I totally disagree. Like, just because AEW don't book their champions like the WWE, having Hangman hold the championship for over 1,000 days doesn't mean Hangman is a transitional champion. He got buried. He's going back down the card, this and that. I think a 100-day reign is perfect, especially with our attention span in this generation that we're living in. Like, YouTube Shorts are taking over this network. We have horrible attention spans. Having year-long title runs, it's good for some people, but not every title reign has to be a Bob Backlund or a Bruno Sammartino run. It doesn't have to be that way. I preferred the way Vince Russo did things in the Attitude Era, playing hot potato with the Hardcore Championship. That's what I want. That's what I want with my championships. I think this was perfect because I really thought going into Full Gear, Samoa Joe was going to lose to Hangman because they wanted to make Hangman look strong. But now we have more depth. We're going to get to see what happens to Hangman Adam Page. Now, is he going to go back down the dark hole that he once went down when he lost everything? There's so much that I think a lot of people aren't looking into that I think really just need to take a step back and realize what's happening. Especially now with Swerve and Hangman aligning themselves. This is going to be interesting for the next chapter in their story. I just hope that we get good television with AEW Dynamite. I really, really hope we do. I'll be honest, I'm really pumped for the C2. I'll be there in Atlanta for Winter is Coming for week 3. Hell yeah. And I'm excited for the C2, and we're going to get into that in just a moment because the names were revealed this week. But let's get into some of the wrestling news. We'll fly through this. According to Fightful, sources in AEW believe that Anna Jay's AEW contract is expiring soon. And Anna Jay is somebody that I could definitely see AEW maybe overpaying for her because they do have the women's tag division. And I do feel like she probably is enjoying teaming with Ty Mello, one of her best friends, on and off screen. They've always been on TV together, and they've always been super close. So I could see Anna Jay ending up re-signing now that we have the tag titles, because I do see that happening eventually for Ty and Anna winning the belts. But then again, I could see a company like probably TNA. I could see TNA being one to go after Anna Jay because they could definitely see that low risk, high reward. Because that's one thing that TNA likes to do, especially with their knockouts. They like to sign these underrated female stars, and then they give them the platform, they give them the television time, they put in the work, and usually it benefits them. And we've seen this with so many different women wrestlers throughout the years in TNA. Some of the names I could just off the top of my head. Mickie James, because she was a big star in WWE, but I felt like she became a bigger star in TNA. Gail Kim. Jordan Grace is another one who had a lot of popularity in the independents. TNA took a chance on her, and then she eventually was holding that knockout championship in the WWE Royal Rumble, and now it's signed to WWE. So honestly, I could see TNA going after Anna Jay as well, but I do think with Jungle Boy being there and her finally actually getting TV time, with her going after the tag titles, I think Anna Jay will end up coming back to AEW, and I do think that they will probably bump her pay. If this was WWE, that probably would not be the case at all. But let's move on now to our only WWE news that we have this week, because a lot of the stuff is Survivor Series related, and we'll talk about that tomorrow live on the flagship show, the We Are Wrestling Podcast, episode 184, which will be live tomorrow, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and X, of course. But on the What's Your Story podcast, Stephanie McMahon says her older daughter, Aurora, once aspired to get into wrestling, but that changed after the events surrounding her grandfather, Vince McMahon. And here's what Stephanie McMahon said on her podcast. She's naturally gifted in the ring. Natty used to train her a long time ago. And then everything happened with my dad and the business, and I left. I think I don't realize necessarily the impact it had, especially on Aurora, but on all of my kids, because Aurora always saw a path forward through the business. And when everything happened suddenly, that wasn't there anymore. And when she had to shift her focus and what she thought she was going to do, and that happens in life anyways. You consistently change and all of that. But it was a path that she felt suddenly wasn't there anymore. Who knows? She might find her way back at it. So pretty much like on this podcast, Stephanie McMahon was saying that eventually her oldest daughter was interested in taking over to WWE, learning everything, becoming head of creative, and then taking Vince McMahon's spot. And we don't really hear a lot of news when it comes to the McMahon kids a lot of the times, because they definitely do stay under the radar, as they should, because they are one of the most controversial families, because obviously Vince McMahon and Linda is a politician, and politicians are always controversial. But very interesting to hear. Like, I never thought, like, if there was anybody in the McMahons I thought would be interested in coming to WWE, it would be Shane's oldest son, Declan, which I still feel like will happen probably after football, college, because I do feel like he looks built and he looks like he could be a successful WWE superstar. But it's very interesting to hear that. And that's why, like, sometimes, like, we think, like, oh, these people get this handed to them or that handed to them, especially, like, having a multi-billion-dollar family like that. But we don't really know, like, the impacts and the things that go on behind closed doors. And especially, like, this whole incident here with the Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon situation, it must be extremely difficult on his grandchildren. It must be hard on Stephanie's kids and, of course, Shane's kids as well, having to hear that their grandfather, like, has done all these terrible things. And this is a lawsuit that's been going on for the last couple of years now as well. So there's a lot of controversy when it comes to that. And I can honestly, like, I'm not surprised at all that maybe she stepped away and she's considering other options, because being in the business, you have all the spotlight on you, you have all the cameras. There's no turning back. So it's definitely a very extremely difficult decision. Because you see here, I could shut this camera off at any time. I could stop uploading at any time. But when you're running a multi-billion-dollar business, you got to keep it going. And Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, sometimes I bet they want to shut that camera off. They want to close the curtains, but they can't. Because at the end of the day, they're running a multi-billion-dollar successful company. Even though TKO is doing a lot of that these days. But honestly, not surprised by that. And it would be interesting to see what she would have done. Just like I always say, there's so many what-if scenarios in this business. A lot of what-if scenarios. And getting into another potential generational star whose father is Hulk Hogan, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, one of the best characters of all time. Well, Nick Hogan, Hulk Hogan's son, was spotted training with an NWA wrestler, and there's been a lot of rumors speculating that Nick Hogan is interested in getting into the business. And man, it's crazy because we really are getting these second and third generational superstars that are teasing a possible professional wrestling debut. We actually just saw it recently with Sting's kid, who had no love for the business until Sting's very last match at AEW Revolution. And now with Nick Hogan getting into the business, I never thought this was going to happen, but you already know, if he puts himself in the right position, works with the right people, I think working with an Eric Bischoff is definitely what he needs to do, because Eric Bischoff will probably lead him into the right direction. It's going to be interesting to see how different he's going to be from his dad, because you have to remember, his dad, what got him over in this business was the red, the yellow, just the promos, the larger-than-life character. He was a role model to all the kids growing up in the 80s and 90s, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, what happens with Nick. And I feel like it's going to be one of those, like, nearly impossible. Like, he's never going to be able to get out of that shadow. And that's why, like, I don't think it's going to work out. And I feel like he's going to be the opposite of his dad. That's probably what he's going to end up doing. But he definitely has some good shoulders. He has some good mentors, definitely. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Tyrus in the live chat. WWE milks for viral moments, forcing a corporate fatigue that makes the fans demand for a payoff, thus the limited attention span. Oh, absolutely. That's the problem. They do milk for the viral moments, and in this generation, you got to do that. You have to go for those viral moments, because one viral moment can blow your entire company, your whole channel up, whether it's good or bad. And as a content creator myself, a small content creator, I always hope for that viral moment. And that's why WWE is in the position that they're in, whether you love it or hate it. But now, with that being said, let's get into the AEW Continental Classic, because we finally got the wrestlers revealed here. And with the Continental Classic, we have the Blue League and the Gold League. And these individuals pretty much wrestle each other. There's certain ways that they get points. And whoever has the most points in the Blue League and the Gold League go face to face to determine who's going to win the Continental Classic. This tournament is very similar to what New Japan Pro Wrestling does with the G1. So here is the official league here. Starting off, we have our Blue League. We have Takeshita, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and To WRW. And then on the Gold League, we have Okada, Kyle Fletcher, Darby Allin, Pac, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. And the thing that makes this whole Continental Classic thing interesting is that we're going to be getting a lot of matches that we did not expect to happen, because in the Blue League here, because all these wrestlers have to face each other at least once. So we're getting a Jon Moxley versus Claudio match. And maybe Claudio beats Jon Moxley. That's going to create some more tension in the Death Riders, because Mox tapped out twice to Kyle O'Reilly, and he's starting to lose that mojo. So him losing to Claudio could definitely create some tension there. Also, we're going to have to see Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong, the Kilometer, whatever you call that group, going against each other as well. So it's going to be interesting to see these matchups. And I'm excited because I think having the Continental Classic around this time, where a lot of us don't really pay too much attention to the pro wrestling and what's happening, because a lot of us are looking forward to January and February with the Royal Rumble, the Road to WrestleMania, AEW Revolution, and of course the holidays, getting to spend it with our families and watching that type of stuff, and not really paying attention to what's happening in the wrestling world, because you have to remember there's no off season. So a lot of the times after WrestleMania and around Christmas, we don't really get the best TV shows. And I think AEW doing a Continental Classic around this time has always been, to me, a great booking decision. Ooh, Kevin Knight and Roderick Strong may be hidden gems in the tournament. That's what I'm seeing. Oh, for sure. And I'm going to give you guys my prediction after I kind of analyze who we have, who we're working with and stuff. But Roderick Strong, I think, is going to do very good in the tournament. But I do think overall, the Continental Classic, it's a great booking decision, because even in WWE, they slow things down during the holidays. They do some more taped shows so that the wrestlers could spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with their families. And they don't even really do a PLE in December anymore because of it, with how slow things are. So having the Continental Classic, this is going to be good filler TV for AEW, with both Collision and Dynamite, having to consistently put on 2-hour shows for both shows each week. All right, let's talk about the Gold League here, because what interests me here is Kevin Knight versus Speedball Mike Bailey, because they're a tag team, Jet Speed, so we're going to have to get to see them wrestle. Kyle Fletcher and Okada, who are part of the Don Callis family, that's going to be interesting to see, because both guys are obviously trying to compete for that number one spot in the family. Pac versus Darby Allin again. Oh, man, that's going to be a good match. I do hope that Darby Allin gets it this time, but there's so many fun, scenarios. I'm excited. Some of these matches that I'm excited about, let's see. I'm looking at this list right now. Let's pull up the graphic again. I will say I'm definitely excited to see a Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy match again. I feel like they've always put on good matches against each other. I'm definitely excited to see what Dorada and Takeshita are going to do, because I think Dorada was the guy that was in that triple threat match with Okada and Takeshita back at, I want to say, Wrestle Dream or All Out, one of those shows. Let's see. In the Gold League, definitely excited to see Speedball Mike Bailey versus Kyle Fletcher. I think that could be a really good match. Kyle Fletcher versus Pac, two guys that have very similar wrestling abilities. I think that could make a great match there. Okada and Darby Allin's one that I'm interested in as well. I actually really like this year's Continental Classic, but the only thing I don't like is how predictable I think the outcome is going to be, because I do think the Blue League, Takeshita's going to win the Gold League. Okada's going to win, and these two are going to face each other off at AEW World's End. And this is where the real rivalry is going to begin, because they've been teasing it for months with Okada and Takeshita, just building that tension there. You have Okada, who is pretty much the unified champion right now, while Takeshita is the IWGP champion. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go, and I think we're finally going to get that full babyface turn by Takeshita, because Okada is going to cheat, and it's only going to further the storyline. Or Don Callis is going to cost Takeshita, or he's going to kick him out of the family. Maybe because of the tension, they'll add that stipulation where the loser of the match must leave the Don Callis family. And I think that could definitely add like an interesting dynamic to this storyline. So I do think it is very predictable, but at the same time, I'm excited to see where things go, because AEW does do more unpredictable things than the WWE. And that is 100% true. But wow, that is all the news we have for this week's We Are Wrestling Podcast Extra. I'm actually going to stay on here for another couple minutes. So if you guys have any wrestling questions that isn't Survivor Series related, feel free to ask me in the live chat. We can talk about anything wrestling. It could be WWE, it could be TNA, it could be AEW, hell, it could be the Independents. I don't care what it is. I'm going to stay on for just a couple minutes and I'll answer a few questions. But man, overall, I'm excited to see what AEW is going to do. I'm very, very excited. Which, whew. And while some of you guys put your questions in the live chat, I will remind you that tomorrow we will be live for the We Are Wrestling Podcast episode 184 with our Survivor Series predictions, and we're going to be putting over Survivor Series 2005. So if you haven't rewatched Survivor Series 05 yet, I would go check that out, because we're going to talk about it in our Getting Put Over segment where we put people over. But yeah, also Saturday we have the live watch along for the Survivor Series. Friday, we also have the House of Glory vlog. So we have lots of awesome content here, and a lot of you guys are being shy, so we are going to log off here. And I'll be able to interact with you guys anyways on Saturday during the live watch along, because we're going to have a packed house. But, okay, here we go. We got a question from BJ to end things off. Have you been keeping up with Cross and his indie run? He has had a great showing in MLW last weekend. I have, BJ. House of Glory vlog is going to be coming out Friday, and I actually got to watch Killer Cross wrestle. And man, I'm so mad that WWE did not capitalize on his popularity. He's somebody I really think you could give a world championship to and build your company around him. I'm surprised TNA hasn't given him the call. I'm also surprised AEW hasn't. But honestly, I've been a fan of the work that he's been doing. Him and Matt Cardona, I thought they put on a great match at GCW. MLW, I won't watch, because I started to pick up momentum when they had the Rogue Horseman. I'm a big fan of BRG, and then when he kind of left and they had that chamber match, and then they didn't really do anything with him and Brock Anderson because they kind of broke the group up there, I just lost all interest. But, here's a good question from Bradley. We are a wrestling member in the live chat. AEW needs to do a Women's Continental Classic. What do you think, Donnie? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? The women need to have the same opportunities that the men have. And I think that it actually could benefit a lot of female wrestlers, because you're giving 12 wrestlers an opportunity to showcase their skills. Like, you could easily throw in a Deonna Purrazzo, a Taya Valkyrie. You could throw some of these talent that aren't being used weekly on television into this tournament. And I think that this tournament is a good way to showcase talent. And that's one thing about the John Cena, the Last Time Is Now tournament, that I want to share as well. Even though Carmelo Hayes lost to Gunter, and I really wanted Melo to win, because I've been such a big fan of his going all the way back to Christian Casanova, he looked great in this tournament, and he took advantage of every opportunity, every minute he got out there in the ring. And now I think because of being in a tournament like the John Cena last time is now. More eyes were on him, and he did his job. And now he's going to be in a better position on weekly television moving forward because of the showcase that he had against Bronson Reed and Gunter, especially Gunter. People are saying that, oh, Mello was buried, this and that, and that's not the case. A lot of people pass out. A lot of people tap out to that sleeper hold that Gunter puts on. He got out of it. I think WWE is going to capitalize on Carmelo Hayes' popularity sooner rather than later, and I could definitely see him winning an IC or United States Championship in 2026. So I really do hope that the women do get a Continental Classic, because I do think that if you put Deonna Purrazzo in there, I think that's where she could finally find her footing in AEW. And all it takes is just one opportunity. That's how it's always been in professional wrestling. One opportunity to get over. Jey Uso got one opportunity, which I know right now he's not popular with the people because we're getting sick of the whole yeet thing. But he got one opportunity in the Thunderdome era, worked with Roman Reigns, and proved that he could be more than just a tag team guy. Daniel Bryan, another guy that got the opportunity because he got over with the yes chant. Dolph Ziggler got over for being such a great seller. So all you need is one opportunity to get over. John Cena, he did the Vanilla Ice thing on the Halloween edition of SmackDown. And instantly he got the Thuganomics character, and then he became Super Cena and became a 17-time world champion. All it takes really, guys, is one opportunity. And that's why I love tournaments. That's why I want a Women's Continental Classic, because that would be such a great way to give somebody who is there but needs just that one opportunity to get over. So I hope that answers your question, Bradley. But we are going to log off because we do have a busy week ahead of us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's We Are Wrestling Podcast Extra. If you did, smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already and you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever, leave us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download this episode and give us a follow. If you're not following We Are Wrestling over on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, go give us a follow on there. Really helps. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac already, over on the YouTube channel, where we're live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the We Are Wrestling Podcast. We do live watch-alongs for all the AEW pay-per-views and WWE PLEs, reactions, vlogs, pro wrestling content, sometimes live extras like today. Recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications for more awesome wrestling content. Links down in the description box below if you guys want to go support me and my toy channel, Best One Donnie. It is the link down below. Also, my merch store is down there as well. Go support me on all my social media. The links are down below. But of course, to all the best ones out there worldwide, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are Take It Over. Peace.